It is Tigo Venturi with the Venturi Group, a real broker here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, with another look at the housing market for the Albuquerque area. I've been doing these a long time. We're going to jump into it. I've got a whole lot to cover today. So if you're really curious about where we're at in the real estate market in Albuquerque as of March 2025, stay tuned. I'm going to go through a whole lot of data here, charts and information, and I'll interject my thoughts on where we are in the market, but should be really helpful for you if you are in the market. I'm going to start by going over just some of the February data here. So single family detached homes, $360,000 was the median sale price. That's the middle price between all the homes that sold. And then your single family attached, which are condos and townhomes, $267,500. So we've seen an increase in the price, in the median price, about 6%, 5.8% for single family detached. But if we jump over to price per square foot, let's look at that. We're looking at average price per square foot, $212, about a 5% increase over last February, and about a 0.5% for the attached. The attached, it's a smaller data set. It's not as many homes, so you have to take it a little bit more grain of salt. There's basically appreciation across the board in the market, especially in the year-over-year data. And the chart we're looking at here is 10 years, and obviously we're looking at both single-family detached and attached. Let's talk about new listings, because this has really been a story of the market here for a while. Again, we're looking at a 10-year chart, but what I want to do is I'm going to break this down to a 12-month rolling. So we're doing a count for the previous 12 months and every one of these data points. So right now in February of 2025, there have been 11,396 homes listed for sale in the past 12 months in the Metro Albuquerque area. That is a 7% increase from the 12-month prior to that. But if we go back in time, you'll see this is still very low, not as low as we had in 2023. And if we go back even further, you'll see we're still at very low level of the number of homes being listed. They're just, people aren't moving as often. And of course, you can see the housing bubble years back here, 2007, where we had over 1.26 thousand homes listed for sale in 1 year, versus now we're at about 11,000. And you look at kind of, I call these the steady years, 2015 through 2018, around 15,000 homes listed each year. So the takeaway is there, yep, people just aren't listing as often. Even though there's more homes in our market, there's been more homes built, they're just, people aren't moving as often. All right, homes for sale. Let's look at the monthly read on homes for sale. End of February, there were 1,526 homes on the market, and that's a 28% increase from a year ago. Let's see, February of 24, there it is. 1,193 homes were on the market same month a year ago. So we've had a pretty healthy increase in the number of homes on the market. Going back to what I just talked about, where the number of listings, it has picked up. It's just still lower than we've seen historically. Number of homes, again, on the market is around 1,500. You go back to, let's say, well, let's go back to February. There we go. Wow, I hit it. February of 2019, 2,236 homes on the market. And we could call that kind of the normal market. If we go back to just before the pandemic in February of 2020, there were 1,736 homes on the market. So we're still below that level that we had when the pandemic started. All right, a couple other things. Closed sales, not much to say there other than it's just kind of steady. A 0.3% increase from last February, which kind of surprises me because we have seen some decent pending activity, but obviously maybe they're not all getting to closing. We're having more fall through than, I don't want to say normal, because we generally do have a fair amount of fall through. I haven't seen anything unusual in that, meaning homes that went under contract, went pending, and for whatever reason, the closing never happened for inspections, contingencies, whatever it is, they didn't close. I'm going to jump to one other stat here before I move into some more detail, and that is the number of showings per home for sale. And on single family detached, it's down about 13% from a year ago. But if you look at the chart here, for single family detached, there were 5.7 showings per home that was listed for sale, which is quite a bit more than we had in November, December in 24 here just a few months ago. So we have seen the activity pick up. It's still less than 1 year ago. All right, let's jump over to my other chart that's going to give us some more context of the housing market. First off, mortgage rates. Always want to talk about mortgage rates, what's going on with the mortgage rate as of today, and they change every day. You can look this up on its Mortgage News Daily is the website we're looking at here. They do a daily tracking of what mortgage rates are doing. This chart is a 1 year. You can go back in time. And currently they're saying for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage for a well-qualified buyer, somewhere around 6.72% is what you're seeing. There's a lot of different mortgage programs out there. You should talk to a local lender and get an idea of maybe there's some program you could qualify for that would get you a better mortgage rate. So don't just take what you find online. Talk to somebody, because there's literally hundreds of mortgage programs out there that could help you get into a home when maybe you thought, it wasn't possible. All right. I'm going to jump over to the Altos research data. This is something I subscribe to. This one looks at the entire metro Albuquerque area. The rest of these charts here, you can see oh no, you can't see, but I got a bunch of tabs across the top here. These are real-time what's happening with the homes that are currently on the market as well as homes that are currently in pending. Gives us a real good feel for supply, demand, as well as price trends. First off, market action index. This is an interesting, call it an algorithm that gauges supply, demand, and gives us a formula on, are we in a buyer's market or in a seller's market? Right now, this is still indicating we're in a seller's market. Anything at 30, the way this particular formula works, is considered a balanced market. And 1 month ago, it was a little bit lower. It was closer to 40, and I think we're at 43 right now. I think maybe 39 a month ago. So we are trending toward a stronger seller's market. It has been a little bit flat. And then here's the chart over time, all the way back to 2016. And we're looking at, on the black line here, which is the single family detached homes. It's higher than it was, very similar to where we were, again, at the beginning of the pandemic, March 2020. Technically, we are in a seller's market, but every home's different, every area is different, every price range is different. So, you can take this as an overall, but remember, if you're selling, you need to get really granular on your neighborhood, what's going on, and your price range, your condition of your home, all that good stuff. Okay, some more big picture stuff. Total number of homes this week, as of this week, there are 1,420 single-family detached homes on the market and 141 condos and townhomes. And you can see the chart here, the black line, again, single family. You can see the trend all the way back to really the beginning of 2016. We hit ridiculously low levels back here in 22, and we've trended up, still lower, but again, we have a lot more choices than we've seen quite a long time. Historically, inventory is very low. A different way to look at our inventory, again, looking at the black line here, we are just about back to the levels we saw in 2020. If you can see that there, if I hover here, you can see the values in 2020, 1,462 homes this week versus 1,420. So almost back to those 2020 levels, but still a long way to go before we get to the 2019 levels. All right, some more supply demand stuff. We're going to talk about pendings. This is the total number of homes in pending status this week. There are 1,056, There were 982 1 year ago, same week. So we have seen an increase in the number of homes under contract that are going to work their way through close. Some of these may fall out, but it gives you a sense that we still see activity slightly stronger, maybe even with last year. Let's jump over to some more, again, supply and demand. I've talked about this quite a bit already, which is the new listings, but this is the weekly data. If we look at the black again here, 137 homes came on the market. And this is, in this particular chart, everything else I've been showing you the 7-day, this particular chart, it's a 90-day moving average because there's so much variation week to week, up and down. You can see if I just go over here and look at just the black line here this year so far, we are seeing more homes coming on the market than we've seen in the last 4 years. So that's good sign for home buyers for sure, more choices. All right, prices, median pending price. This tells us of the homes that are in pending status right now, not the homes that are on the market, not the homes that sold, but what the homes that are under contract right now. What is the pending price? And if we look at this, we'll look at March 1 year ago, this week, median pending price was $354,950. This year, $375,000. So we have seen a 5 to 6% increase from last year in the median pending price. If we look at it from a price per square foot standpoint, the same thing. We look at a $214 is the price per square foot for the pending homes this year versus $202 a year ago, about a 6% increase. This gives us an idea of where price appreciation will be over the next few months. So we're really looking into the future for home prices in the Albuquerque area. And then the last thing I want to hit on is price reductions. And this chart is telling us of all the homes that are currently on the market in the Albuquerque area, how many have reduced price. And this goes back to 2020, and we're looking at this week, 40% of all the homes that are on the market have taken a price reduction. That is a little higher than what we would say is normal. Normally this time of year, it's a little bit lower. Last year, it was 33% or 34%, about a third. 2 years ago, same thing actually, 34%. We have seen an unusually large number of homes that are on the market reduce price. And a lot of different reasons for that, but really it just comes down to, was it priced for the current market and the current trends and what's going on with what home buyers want, and our home buyers seeing the value. It's always a moving target, and home sellers and their brokers are adjusting to the market. It doesn't tell us that prices are going down. It just tells us that the homes that are on the market have had to reduce price because they're not getting the activity that they expected at their list price. I made a different chart on that, and I'm going to jump over to that right now. I pulled some kind of unique data from our multiple listing service here in Albuquerque. I went back to 2000, so the year 2000, and I looked at every month. It's a good gauge to tell us where we are right now. Of the homes in February, the average price reduction was about 4.26%, or about $23,000. This is a really tiny chart, so I know it's hard to see. But I did this just so I can get one more perspective on what's going on with the market and what sellers and their brokers are thinking about the market. And one of the things that this really illustrates to me is that we're always adjusting. We're always adjusting to the current market conditions because they can change. They don't change fast, but they change. You put a home on the market, obviously, if you're selling, you want to maximize the value. You want to get as much as you can, but sometimes you do have to adjust. And it is very telling to see how much of that is happening in the current market. And of course, if we go back to right there, 2022, very few price reductions because that's just the market we were in at that time. Right now, we're in that middle area, I would say, still steady. Like I said, at the very top is we still are considered in a seller's market, just a little bit more subdued than we've seen, obviously, in 2020, 2021, 2022, and even part of 2023. As always, lots of info there. If you got any questions, reach out to us. I'm Tigo Venturi with the Venturi Realty Group of Real Broker here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Take care.